What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Wingers and Defenders. Today, we will be recapping the Arsenal-Manchester City FA Cup game, as well as talking about a manager that certainly Joe, and he is starting to get a lot of other people to believe, is not so good. And let's just get right into it. Obviously, about a half an hour ago, the game finished, and almost everybody expected City to win, but one person who is on this call and a Spurs fan of all people predicted an Arsenal victory, and that is what happened. He called it into existence. 2-0, a bombing with a brace. Unbelievable. I didn't expect it. Jake didn't expect it. Our special guest on our preview, David O, did not expect it, but Joe did, of all people. Joe, I can't believe you actually predicted that, and of all people, decided to pick against your rival, or pick for your rival, actually. But Jake, as our Arsenal fan on this podcast, your thoughts?
Like I said, I've been in tears for the last 20 minutes or so. I just finished crying. This roller coaster of a season for a team that has been so poor at times this season. Has put in a 90-plus minutes of just great football. When I say great football, it's just there's no one player on the team that had a really bad performance. You look at Arsenal, even our wins. You can always look at one or two, maybe three players that have had a poor performance, but we've come through and won. I can't think of one player on this roster that played a really bad game today. I think everyone played as a unit. They played well. They took their chances. They could have won by more. They took more chances. And you could say City obviously could have scored more as well, or could have scored one at least. But we took our chances, and I'm just ecstatic. We're going to the FA Cup final. We'll meet either Chelsea or United. This is just it doesn't feel like Arsenal should be in this position with how poor we played. But I think under Arteta we have direction, we have a clear way we want to play, and the players seem motivated. And I can't be happier, honestly.
Yeah, congrats to you, Jacob. I mean, we know my hatred for Arsenal. I've said it on here a lot of times, but I got to congratulate you guys. I've said it even last video. I believe I said that. I think that Arsenal's going to win the FA Cup. As much as I hate it, I think that's what's going to happen. And I think especially if it's Chelsea, I think Arsenal is going to beat Chelsea. United is the only chance I could see. United game is going to be a toss-up. I'll see how I feel closer to that, and I'll give you guys a full prediction then, obviously. But as of right now, I feel pretty confident that Arsenal's going to win the FA Cup. I kind of felt it for a while now. And, yeah, am I surprised that Pep got out-coached once again? Absolutely not. I think I've been on record saying Arteta's a pretty good coach. But yeah, he's gotten out-coached. He's gotten out-coached by the young guns like Arteta. He gets out-coached by the old dinosaurs that a lot of people have liked to say about Mourinho. We're not going to get into that this episode. But again, just putting that in for clarification, he's getting bested by people who people are saying is past their prime, people who haven't even entered their prime as a coach yet. It's, to quote Claude from Arsenal Fan TV, Pep, it's time to go because I need your behind out of the Premier League because you're a bum. And when are we going to get to this Pep stuff? Because I got my stats ready. But if we're going to continue on this Arsenal talk, yeah, Aubameyang showed up today. Congrats to him. David Luiz showed up today. Good job by them. And yeah, and I can't just say that City played a bad game because Arsenal, every single player in Arsenal played well today. So big ups to Arsenal.
Yeah, just like Jake and Joe have said, yeah, I can't say one player on the pitch for Arsenal played poorly today. I think as much as we want to discredit our Man City and like Pep, for example, I think you need to give credit for Arsenal. Arsenal played – I went and said today was their best performance this season. I'll go one step further and say this week was their best week in, I don't know, a couple of years probably. You're talking about beating the champions now of the Premier League, Liverpool. Bad performance by Liverpool standards, sure, but you have to capitalize on your mistakes or capitalize on the mistakes to win the game. And Arsenal did that. Arsenal won that game and deserved to win that game, even though Arsenal really only had those two opportunities, but buried both. So credit to them. And then today, I don't think I've ever seen them play that well this year. For sure this year, certainly in maybe even the last couple of years, who knows? I mean, it's literally one of the best performances I've seen out of them. Super compact, super defensive, and then they'd break on the counter. Both goals were scored off of great feeds from two different players. Nicolas Pepe, who put a ball right where it needed to be, and Aubameyang with a tough finish, because if you look at the replays, it was a half volley, the ball hit the ground, and then he had to have a tough finish and get it past Ederson. And then the second goal was a little combination play from Pepe and Tierney, and then he put Aubameyang through. He was open and then put it through Ederson's leg. 2 great goals, 2 great build-ups. You can't bypass that. It's a great performance to me from Arsenal. And if you look at the numbers, we expected City to dominate. 16 shots, 1 on target. That's the problem. I think that's your issue today. 1 shot out of 16 on target, unacceptable. How can you only put 1 shot on target? You're destined to lose then. And then for Arsenal, 4 shots, 4 on target. That's clinical. And 29% possession, we expected them to be put up in the back, and then they'd have to counter. And that's why he started Pepe and started Aubameyang on the wings and then had Lacazette in the middle. Because for them to win, typically to beat City, you have to sit back and then you have to beat them with pace on the wings and get behind the defenders, which is their shakiest part of their team, certainly. And I think, to me, you can discredit Man City for not being clinical, but I think when you see Mustafi and David Luiz playing really well today, you have to credit them, because we haven't seen them be this good, honestly, in a long time. And yes, when City had their chances, like, for example, I think on the telecast, we were talking a lot about Benjamin Mendy getting a lot of touches on the wing, because that was the only place in the attacking third that City were really getting the ball there, because they were so compact, Arsenal, and they would be forced to just go to the wings and put the ball through Walker and especially Mendy today. And then when the ball was put into dangerous places, it was either City weren't clinical or Mustafi and David Luiz were right on top of it and right there in their head. They were to me, David Luiz and Mustafi were 2 of the better players today, in my opinion, because when the ball was put in dangerous areas, they dealt with it almost every time, honestly. So to me, I got to give credit to Arsenal today.
Yeah, this week has been a great week for Arsenal, except, on Sunday when they lost to us in my Lily Whites. So, yeah, great week for them. Great week. Have fun with that 2-1 loss. I had to throw that in there. We didn't really get to talk about that in these past few episodes. Yeah, so go ahead, Jacob.
Yeah, I mean, looking at like the game, analyzing it, Pep's tactic for the game, he knew we were going to come compact. So like you said, Christian, he was going to attack like our wing players. So I think what he was trying to do was, since we're going to be compact central, he wanted to draw out our fullbacks or our wingbacks, actually. So Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Bellerin, those guys, and even the outside center backs. So that would be Mustafi and Tierney. He would try to drag us out, kind of drag us into the center of the pitch, and he would just launch balls down the wing. So Sterling could run in the beginning, Mahrez could run in, and towards the end, Foden. He wanted to put pressure on our wings, get crosses in, and kind of like stifle our outside of our defense. And it seemed like it was going to work the first, I think, 15 minutes. It looked like it was very challenging, like we were not going to be able to withstand that. But they weren't taking their chances. Sterling was probably their most aggressive player today, I would say, as far as trying to get into channels, trying to cause problems. De Bruyne was trying to pluck away. We know how world-class De Bruyne is, but he couldn't get anything going. I think that's credit to Xhaka and Ceballos tracking back. I think that's on Ainsley Maitland-Niles and Hector for playing really well, staying tight, looking at the runners. And, once you have a really good defensive setup that Arteta gave us, you're going to be able to counter really well, because their defense is the weakest link of their team. So when you're able to withstand those attacks and counter effectively, you're going to score goals. And luckily, Aubameyang, who missed a chance in the beginning of the game, people were getting on him for that. He then scores 2, gets a brace, and he's the hero for the match. The guy that people have looked down on for not scoring in big games, which we can't really ignore facts. He has missed chances in big games, but he doesn't continue that today. Today he gets 2 huge goals. The defense plays well. Midfield stays compact. Emi Martinez didn't do too much today. Towards the second half he kind of did, but made really some pretty good saves. Was commanding, decent distribution. I think this is just a really all-around great performance from Arsenal, and I'm looking forward to what we can produce. I think we have maybe 2 more match days in the Premier League and then the FA Cup final. So I'm looking forward to those games. With the way we've been playing, I'm excited.
Yeah, and then just another note, which, we've definitely talked about with Joe being a Bergwijn guy and Jake being a Pepe guy. I think today, not specifically just today, but I think the recipe for success for a guy like Pepe especially in the big games, because that's when you want him to produce most, especially at a club like Arsenal. when he's putting the ball in like that and showing confidence, because obviously you're going to be compact, and they were compact just like we expected them to be. Pepe, I think, hasn't performed as good as he can this year, but I mean today, like for example, shows the recipe for what they can do. You're looking at a guy who's predominantly with his left foot using it, and when he puts a ball in like that, like that's for a guy that's going to have the ability to score double-digit goals and double-digit assists. That's, to me, what looks like it. Oh, and Joe doesn't like it because he's a Bergeron guy, but I'll say what I got to say.
I'll debate him.
He was good at league. He was good in the French league last year, and I mean it's a smaller point from today, just Pepe's performance. But I'm just from what I've seen so far, especially lately with the goal. I don't know who he scored that great goal that he swung with his left foot in the Premier League a couple weeks ago, but
that was Brighton.
Brighton, which we don't talk about that game, but that was a great goal.
Right. So I think the issue is the lack of a right foot, which I think that's the difference between a guy like Pepe and Greenwood, because Greenwood's been able to finish with his right foot. I don't know how many goals Pepe has I don't know if he has a goal with his right foot this year, but I think the recipe for success for this team, especially in big games, because more often than not, you'll see yourselves backed up and then putting on the counter. But Aubameyang with his pace, Lacazette has looked better recently, and Pepe with his pace. And even guys like Saka and other dudes, with pace on the wings, it's almost similarly to United when United did the double this year against City, and especially in the first game at City, when you're looking at Rashford and Martial and all these guys running and countering. I think this today exposed once again what City are, which is if they can't be clinical in front of net, they're beatable. And that's why when Jake says it's a concern that they might not win the Champions League, I agree, because you're looking at teams like Bayern Munich, the PSGs of the world, which they have had their struggles in Champions League. Those are teams that have so much dangerous players going forward. If City aren't clinical and Gabriel Jesus, who might play, Sergio Aguero might be back by then, if they're not clinical in front of net, they're done. Like, they are just going to get shredded by teams like Bayern, PSG, Juventus possibly if they're in better form, the Atalantas of the world who are scoring goals after goals in the Serie A. They're in trouble, and this is why Joe is going to give us a synopsis of why Pep Guardiola is in trouble as a manager, because they stick to their way, and I don't think I've seen enough of them adjusting, because they play their way. They play their simple attacking football where they use Ederson as an 11th player in the pitch as an outfield player, and they just try to possess and get around the ball, and there's not really another way they play. And yes, that works at times, and that's why they've been so dangerous forward against some of the teams in the Premier League that struggle defensively. But when you look at a team that plays great on their day, like Arsenal, who are super, super compact and have on their day great defending, they're in trouble against teams that have world-class defenders, because we all agree that Arsenal doesn't have really a world-class defense. But when you're looking at teams like Bayern Munich, Alphonso Davies, well, he's going to be a great player. Boateng, Nicolas Soule, David Alaba, Manuel Neuer, the list goes on. I think today shows that the UCL for them is no guarantee, and they might end up just winning the Carabao Cup this year.
Yeah, and like you said, that was a great Pepe assist. It's like he took right after his father in Bergwijn, and what Bergwijn did against Newcastle, putting that right into the dot to Harry Kane. Yeah, very taking after his father. I really have to give him credit. But yeah, let's get on to Pep. Pep Guardiola. I'm not going to make any ball jokes because I've seen that a lot recently, but we're not going to do that here. Okay, so let's talk about the history of Pep. Starts off at Barcelona. First job's at Barcelona. 08-09 season, he has Messi, Xavi, Puyol, Henry, Iniesta, Dani Alves, Busquets, Yaya Toure, Piqué, and Eto'o. I may have messed up some of those names. If I did, happens. That year, first year, congrats to him. They won Champions League and La Liga. I think they might have won the Copa del Rey. But, like, again, that's Barcelona. I'm not giving you credit for winning the Copa del Rey. You're Barcelona. You should be winning that every year. So if you win the Copa del Rey, good job. Pat yourself on the back, but you get no credit for that from me. 09-10. They did not win the Champions League, but they did win La Liga. Who did they have on that team? They had Messi. They had Dani Alves. They had Piqué. They had Xavi. They had Iniesta. They had Valdez. They had Puyol. They had Zlatan. They had Henry. They had Busquets. And they had Yaya Toure. You're telling me that team should not be winning the Champions League? Should that team be winning the Champions League, Christian?
Oh, yeah, no question.
Jacob, should that team be winning the Champions League?
While I didn't watch football back then. With that good of a club, you should be definitely winning the Champions League, in my opinion, at least.
Okay. 2010, 2011. They won the Champions League and they won La Liga. Congrats. But who did they have on their team? They had Messi, Valdez, Dani Alves, Piqué, Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, Puyol. You won the Champions League. Congrats. Congrats. Yeah, you did what you were supposed to do. 2011, 2012. No Champions League and no La Liga. Wow, this was a bottle job, wasn't it? Let's see who they had on the team. Maybe they just didn't have a lot of people that year. You know, maybe a lot of people left the team. Who do they have on the team? Let's see. Valdez, Dani Alves, Piqué, Fabregas, Xavi. Shoot, I can't read that name. Iniesta, Alexis Sanchez, Messi, Thiago, and Busquets. You couldn't even win La Liga with that? You couldn't even win La Liga with that. Pep, what are you doing? You have all the money in the world. Look at all those guys you just brought in. Look at the people that you're still able to have on your roster, and you can't even win La Liga? Come on. Okay. 2013, 2014, now he's at Bayern Munich. They had Götze, Thiago, Muller, Neuer, Robin, David – oh, shoot, I can't even read that name. David Alaba, yeah. Rafinha, Lewandowski, and Kroos. What did they win? Just the Bundesliga. And we know how dominant Bayern Munich is in the Bundesliga. The only people that contend is Dortmund. And Dortmund's not really that much of a contender every year in and year out because they sell everyone. They just develop players and sell them. 14, 15, they win the Bundesliga again. Remember, the 8 years in a row they won the Bundesliga. Neuer, David Alaba, Rafinha, Thiago, Muller, Robin, Lewandowski, Götze, and Xabi Alonso. I think I messed up that. Yeah, him too. 15, 16, won the Bundesliga. Did not win Champions League again. They had Neuer, Alaba, Rafinha, Kimmich, Götze, Thiago, Vidal, Xabi again, Coleman, Costa, Lewandowski, Muller, and Robin. And this is coming off the 2014 World Cup winning German side. So this is prime players right here. Yep. And then 16, 17, he's at Manchester City. We all know Manchester City has oil money, right? What did he win his first year here? You know, he's a serial winner. You know, he wins everywhere he goes. He's such a winner. He won nothing. He didn't even win the League Cup. He didn't even win the League Cup. Who did he have on the team? Maybe he didn't get a chance to craft his team yet, right? He had Sterling, De Bruyne, Sane, David Silva, Yaya Toure, Fernandinho, Company, Aguero, John Stones, who cost him £47.5 million. And what did he win? Christian, what did he win?
Absolutely nothing.
Jacob, what did he win?
Nothing.
Okay. 17, 18, the Invincible team. Not Invincibles, the Centurion City team. Great team. What else did they win that year? Nothing. They didn't win Champions League, I'll tell you that for sure. Who did they have on that team? They had Kyle Walker. They had Company. They had Stones. They had Sterling. They had Aguero. They had Laporte. They had De Bruyne. They had Sane. They had Bernardo Silva. They had David Silva. They had Mendy. They had Fernandinho. They had Ederson. They had Jesus. And they had Yaya Toure. And you're telling me you only won the Premier League? That's a Champions League winning side right there, and they didn't win it. 18, 19, they were treble winners. Congrats, you didn't win the Champions League, so you're a failure in my eyes. You had Walker, Company, Sterling, Aguero, Laporte, De Bruyne, Sane, Bernardo Silva, David Silva, Mahrez, Fernandinho, Foden, Jesus, and Ederson. And yeah, they won the treble. And now where are they at this year? They're going to win the League Cup with basically the same team? I just think fraudulent behavior. Everywhere he's gone, he's had money, and he's underperformed everywhere he's gone. I'm not saying you have to win the Champions League every single year. I understand that's not really possible. But if you're telling me you only won two Champions Leagues, that was with Iniesta, Messi, and Xavi at Barcelona, you're a fraudulent manager because I know damn well. Actually, I do know for sure that Jose Mourinho has won a Champions League since then. Mikel Arteta has a better chance of winning a Champions League before Pep Guardiola does with a mid-table team. I genuinely think if you put Pep Guardiola on Arsenal, Mikel Arteta is going to finish with more points. I really think he's an oil money. He's a money merchant, and that's the only reason he's been able to do well is because he's gone to teams with a lot of money. Please, I want to see him go to a mid-table team and see what he does. Prove me wrong, Pep. Do something that's challenging because obviously this shouldn't be challenging, but yet you're making it challenging. Somehow he's made the easiest jobs in the world challenging.
Yeah, I think the one of the three teams he's managed, I think the one where it's not a farmers league, which they call the likes of the Serie A possibly and Ligue 1. I think the La Liga one is a little bit more lenient towards being in favor of him, I guess, in a sense, because he did win 2 Champions Leagues, as Joe said, and you also have Real Madrid there with Ronaldo and the likes they've had there. So I got to give him somewhat of a pass there. I see where you're coming from, but I think the big concern, which what you just mentioned, is the Bayern Munich. They didn't win a single Champions League with him. What's going on? And that is of the – I guess that's also Farmers League in a sense. You haven't seen anybody else win that league since Klopp was there with Dortmund. And that should tell you that they should be winning the Champions League there. And they have the teams. Lewandowski was there. Lewandowski was coming from Dortmund. They just keep bringing in players, and they obviously have the best team in Germany. Why can't you win the Champions League once? And I don't know. I think it was 3 years. I don't know how many 3 seasons. I think it was 3 seasons, Joe. But not one Champions League. To me, that's unacceptable.
Fraudulent behavior.
Yeah, so I think that's the problem. And then when you go to City and you haven't done what you've done with the money they've had, it's concerning. And like Joe said, go to a mid-table team and see what you can do, because that's the test, which we've seen almost every coach. I think that gives you a better perspective of what a coach can do, because when you just see him go to the best teams in each league and dominate that, what does that show you? That just shows you that the team that has the most money and the best players most of the time wins. You have the one-off year where Leicester City wins it with a manager like Claudio Ranieri, or I don't know what other leagues. AS Monaco won the league recently. There's a couple other ones that are just a one-off season where a team performs well over their 38-game stretch or whatever the amount of league games play. But when you see Pep go to the same exact teams and have the same world-class players every year, and like Joe said, at the time he was at Bayern Munich, Germany won the World Cup. And there were a lot of players on the German national team that were playing for Bayern Munich, the likes of Thomas Müller. Manuel Neuer was at his best at that time, and now he's not the same. But at that time, he was the best goalie in the world, probably. I can't remember who else was.
Oh, he was.
He was, yeah.
Boateng. I don't know what Hummels in that stretch was there. There's other guys, Kimmich, Philip Lahm. Philip Lahm had just captained Germany to the World Cup. So I think of the 3 teams, I think Bayern Munich was the biggest problem, but he's shown it again at City. That first season, he won nothing. How can you go to a team that has so much money and not win even the League Cup of all things? And the League Cup is something that not many teams care about, and City have shown they've cared about it. And when they cared about it in that year, they didn't win it, and they didn't win anything. And that's a problem, because it seems like it takes him a couple of years to get what team he wants. And at that time, he had like Claudio Bravo starting in goal. I don't know who else was in the starting lineup at that point, but it wasn't the team he has now. And that's the concern, because when he only pretty much has shown when he is successful, it's when he has money and he gets the team he wants. And if he can't do that at a team that has less money and less talented players, is he really that good of a coach then?
No, he's not. And I remember walking down the stairs of Aquinas Hall with Jacob Ford. I remember saying to him, and I got laughed at. I mean, I remember saying I thought Poch was a better coach than Pep at the time. I still maintain that. I know Poch lost what happened he lost the locker room and stuff. He had a poor ending. But I kind of want to say that could this be happening with City now? Has he lost the locker room, or his tactics getting stale? Because I mean, if you're telling me you can't beat Arsenal, something that the dinosaur Jose Mourinho was able to do, you can't beat Arsenal? Come on.
I
Come on.
don't think he would have lost the locker room. I don't think his tactics are really falling off. I just don't think he's able to, at least when it comes to today, it seemed he didn't take chances. I think he was set up right today personally. I just think his team bottled for him. And now if you want to go over like his whole like overview of his career as a manager, I'm gonna do it as an Arsenal fan. People can get mad at me, say, "Oh, you're an Arsenal fan, your team's trash, whatever." Just look at Pep Guardiola as a manager without looking at my bias or whatever, right? Starts off at Barcelona. That's a two-team league. That is Real Madrid and Barcelona, and that stretch maybe Atletico pushed, but it was two-team league. His competition was Real Madrid. Next club, Bayern Munich. That's a one-team league. That is a one-team league. If you won the league 8 years in a row, it's a one-team league. You cannot tell me that there's not another team. Dortmund is the closest, and like Joe said, they're not even really contending every year because they sell all their best talent away. That's a one-team league. You come to the Premier League. This is a league where every year 3, 4, 5 teams could win the Premier League. And you come in with the team with the most money, the most weapons, attacking at least. All your job is to really do is set up the defense, tactics, put them in place, make sure your team is set up well, and you win games. And he's proven he's won the Premier League. He's won cups. Hasn't won the Champions League, which is I think he really wants to win with his City team. But something that is strange to me is, at least this season, he got absolutely blown out of the water by this Liverpool club, which is an example of a club that built up. They have money. Liverpool has money, yes, but they built up the right way. They picked who they wanted in their club, position-wise, who they think was best. Klopp did a great job of doing that. They're bored, whatever. And Pep kind of just seemed to overload that attack, that midfield, so we could outscore teams, so we could, play fast football, dominate possession. But our defense, we're going to blow $50 million on John Stones, who you thought was going to be good, but, where is he now? Can't even get to the team. Players like Mendy, he's a shocking player. I'll continue to say this. I don't care how many touches he gets, how many crosses he puts into the box. He's a shocking player. Who else do they have? I mean, Laporte is decent, but where was he today? I don't know. Eric Garcia is an 18-year-old who shouldn't be playing first team, but it's all you have really right now. Right back, Kyle Walker's probably your best defender right now. I'm not going to lie. This is Pep is – it's confusing to me because it's like if you put Pep on a team like Arsenal, a 5th, 6th, 7th place team, how well is he going to play when he doesn't have a board? How well is he going to play with a board that doesn't back him? A board that will not give him the weapons he wants. Because he has weapons that he wants, and he's still not winning Champions League. He's won Premier Leagues. He's won more than Arsenal in the last 10 years. We get it. He's done all that stuff, right? But the main thing is he said it himself, his goal is Champions League. He wants to win that. And right now, if you can't beat Arsenal when you have that many 16 shots and you can't beat them, how are you going to beat Real Madrid? How are you going to beat Juventus? How are you going to beat PSG? How are you going to beat anyone in Europe at Champions League level if you can't do that? It's interesting.
He can't beat us. He can't beat us in our 2 worst seasons. Our worst seasons in how long, and he can't beat us. Think about that, Jake. Think about that. I'm going to take your side for a second here. That's fraudulent behavior. He should be wiping the floor with both of our teams.
Also got absolutely dismantled by Norwich City early in the season, but Yeah. Relegation side, Norwich City.
Pookie.
Got dismantled. As far as Guardiola is concerned, you can't really fault managers for going to, if they get a big club offer, you want to manage a big club. I get that. You got 3 big clubs offered and you took them. Great, whatever. But that doesn't really prove that you can really do it with a team that's like, in the mud almost. Like, you have the board backing you every time. You have money backing you every single year. You have to perform every single year. And you have trophies. We get that. You have a lot of trophies. You have a fan base of fans that have come around because you win games now. We get it. But when it comes down to at least Europe, Champions League, you have grossly underperformed. And this season, in the league where you're supposed to win, because you have the most money, the Premier League, you got washed. You weren't even close to winning. You did beat Liverpool after they already won the league, so congrats for that. They won the league and you beat them 4-0. Congratulations. Great job. But now when it matters most, now it doesn't matter anything now, but next season, when I think, Pep's making jokes like we need to spend more money, make more players come in, to fix your defense because you need to fix your defense. Your only option now is Champions League and the Premier League. You need to win a treble next year. You have to. Because I think you're a fraud. Me and Joe think you're a fraud already. This will just prove that you literally only need money to win. And you can't even do that well. So what happens if you go to at least Ancelotti went to Everton, who's trying to actually push teams forward, a mid-table team that's trying to improve them, get them Champions League football. I respect that more than a guy that goes to top clubs and cannot win at a high level all the time. It's easy to win games. You have the best club every time you go out. I think Pep is an example of that. You're the best team going out every single time you go out. Out of 50 games you play a season, 45 times probably in that season, towards the end of the season, maybe not, you're going to have the better team every time. You should be winning almost all of those games. And you've grossly underperformed.
Yep.
And then, are people really scared of Pep anymore? I'm serious. Are people scared of playing Pep? I remember 17, 18, 19, people would be scared of playing Pep's teams, right? This year, I wasn't scared at all when we played Pep. Without Harry Kane, I still wasn't scared. I was still confident we could beat them. Christian, I guess your team doesn't – you can't really answer this question because you're Liverpool and, you guys are better than City already, and you have a manager who's already better than Pep. But, Jacob, are you really scared when you play City? Are you scared that Pep's really going to out-tactic you and his team's going to outclass you like that?
Well, no. Tactically, I'm not afraid of Pep. I'm afraid of his players. I'm afraid of the weapons he has on the pitch.
Yes.
Due to money, due to Man City being Man City. I'm not afraid of Pep as a manager. I'd be afraid of him if he had a much worse team that could beat teams handily with their tactics. I'd be scared, yes. I'm afraid of Kevin De Bruyne, David Silva, Foden, Mahrez, Sterling, Aguero. I'm scared of them. I'm not scared of Pep. Oh, let's get that clear.
Pep, I'm going to put this on record here. Pep is Unai Emery with money.
It's intriguing.
Pep is Unai Emery with money.
Unai had a good run. Had a really good run towards the end of last season too, which is why I kind of want him to stay for a bit. And it proves that if you have tactics right and get a good run of games going, you can do good. I think Pep is a quality manager, but it's he's grossly underperformed at major times for his club. That's just what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and then I think another example of I wouldn't say world class, but an elite manager is Rafa Benitez. Rafa Benitez was at Newcastle United, not getting any money. Now he's gone, and they're kind of spending now. They got Joelinton from I think it was Hoffenheim for around 30-something million, and Saint Maxime from France, who is a very good and young winger. But before that, they weren't spending any money. They weren't going to give him any money. They weren't backing him at all. And yet, a guy that won the Champions League with Liverpool, never won a league, but still won a Champions League, which is a big deal for a club like Liverpool, who has a lot of prowess winning that competition. He continued to stay and kept them in the league. And that's an achievement in itself because they were not getting him any money. They were just sticking with the same team they had, and he still kept the team in the league. If Pep did something like that with the team that just didn't back him at all and they would just resist spending any money, I'd give him more credit for what he's doing at these big clubs because you can't say winning at these clubs is something that not every manager can do because I think a lot of managers at smaller clubs who just don't get the opportunity to go manage at a bigger club could possibly do the same thing Pep's doing if he's getting the money he's getting. And now with the ban getting they won their appeal, so now they're going to be able to spend the money they want, and keep everybody they want. Now they're going to just spend more money, and it's going to hide all the stuff with Pep because he's just going to continue to get what he wants because the likes of David Alaba, who's out of contract, they're looking at. Koulibaly from Napoli is a great defender. They're probably going to get one of those too, and they're going to have their partner to Laporte instead of having Eric Garcia, who is young and promising possibly, but that's what they have right now. They have John Stones, who's been a mess since ever he came from Everton. Otamendi, don't know who he came from previously, but he's a mess too. Yeah, and then on top of it, they had Company last year, and they didn't replace him. And Company was getting closer to the end of his career, and even that, he's pretty much gave them the lead because vividly I can remember last season, if they didn't get the world stunner goal from him against Leicester City in their second to last game, we're talking about Liverpool winning 2 league titles in a row possibly. And they didn't replace him. They let him go to Belgium, which that's fine because he's a Belgian international. That probably was something he wanted to do at the end of his career. But they didn't replace him. They decided to I don't know if they made any huge signings this summer. I can't remember. But Cancelo came in, which was a weird signing in itself because they had Kyle Walker and they did a swap for Danilo. I don't think they made any other big signings besides that. But yet they still I think the biggest thing for them is they want to play attacking football, and that's all they care about. And they don't address their other issues, which is, I don't know if that's a board issue, that's a Pep issue. Who knows who issues it is? But the fact that they just want to have all these loaded attackers and just let everybody come in and attack and just score goals, and then not fix the defense. I don't know what defender in that team I would trust. I wouldn't trust Ederson at Liverpool. I wouldn't even trust Laporte. I would probably trust in the most. But Benjamin Mendy, I don't trust him. I don't trust Zinchenko. They had Angelino.
I'd take Walker. I
think the second defender that I would trust is Kyle Walker. But Angelino, Zinchenko, Mendy, Eric Garcia obviously hasn't had a ton of time yet, so we don't know. But Stones, Otamendi, that's your issue. If you want to just strictly go off of the players and what's the issue with their team, that's your issues. Because Jake just said it. The thing that scares you the most when you go up against them, even from Liverpool's perspective, is their attackers. Aguero is a world-class striker. You have Sterling, Morris, Sane, Bernardo Silva, David Silva, Gundogan. It just goes on and on. Kevin De Bruyne's one of the best midfielders, if not the best midfielder in the world right now. That's what scares you. And that's the issue despairing between Pep or the team, because I think that's the problem. You're talking about Pep having just world-class players, so he could just make people scared based off the team. But is it the tactics? I just don't think the problem is that Pep just can't change his tactics, because when today he probably could have switched something up at halftime. Yes, the players weren't clinical, but there's something about not changing your tactics at all and just playing the same way and never getting it right to me.
I swear I feel like one of us could go Man City, manage them for a year, and still keep them in the Premier League. I mean, there's so much money. Like, what do I have to do? Go shoot the ball. I think you could honestly play that team without a manager and still win a decent amount of games and stay up. I'm not saying win the league, but like, there's not really much Pep has to do there, and he still doesn't. And he still can't win the league every year. Disappointing. He's a failure.
It's like it's disappointing with how much money he has, so much talent, that you can get beat by a 10th place Arsenal team that has no business being in this game. I wrote us off. As an Arsenal supporter, who we were playing well, I thought we were losing 3-0, 3-1, and they came out and they performed really well, my team, and City could not get going. They could get going, but they couldn't finish anything. And Pep just showing again why he's shaky, why he hasn't won in a while, why he hasn't won a UCL in a while. We don't know. All that money and going to waste. What is it for? This team is built for Champions Leagues, and they're not winning it.
Yep. All right, well, that's all for today. Just please like, subscribe, and just check us out for more videos in the future.